if you're thinking of trading volatility indices, then I suggest that you watch this video and you don't skip it, because what I'm going to be sharing with you today is actually the best price action strategy that you can get. If you've read about a little bit about price action, I'm sure that you've come across this, but most of the times people don't consider it, even though it's the most powerful strategy that you can use, either for volatility indices or boom and crash, anything, any pair, even currencies, right? You can still use this same strategy, right? So this strategy is the zone flip strategy, right? So what do I mean by zone flips? Let me just explain a little bit for those who don't know. Right? So zone flips is, let's say we're in a downtrend. I think you know what support and resistance is. If you don't know what support and resistance is, then I suggest that you watch my support and resistance video. I'll leave a link in the description box down below. If I don't, remind me in the comment section, right? So if you are going down, right, we're going down, then we've got a pullback, right? So right over here, the area that we have we have a pullback over there. This area is what we call a support, right? Because this area, when market reached this area, right, it pulled back, right, which means that there's something over here, right, that forced the market to push back again, going up, right? If there wasn't anything, it would just have continued going down just like this, right? So if there's a pullback, just know that there's an area of interest somewhere over there, right? So these are the areas that we are looking for, right? Then since we are in a downtrend, the market will then eventually continue going down, right? So now again, when we have another pullback, we're anticipating that we'll be entering when the market pulls back to this area again, right? So we have to wait for another pullback, right? And if it reaches that area, right, and you don't have to treat this as a level, right, you can treat this as an area. So you can mark it using your box, right, instead of your horizontal lines, right? So over here, if you mark that area, the market pulls back, right, and it gives a candlestick confirmation, then you are likely going to be then that's when you are going to be entering that trade, right? And then another thing, for this pullback over here, we don't want to see a straight pullback, an impulsive pullback just like this. The best setups, though these ones will also work, but the best pullback that you can get so that you get further confirmation, right, is a pullback that is sort of like in a consolidating manner, right? So it's giving us a green candle, maybe a red candle, green candle, red candle, something just like this, forming either a triangle, a flag, whatever it is, just a small consolidation, or giving us alternating between red and green candles. This shows that the market doesn't have enough momentum to push the market up, right? So it's likely going to respect this area of interest that we are approaching, right? So right over here, we draw maybe our trend line. If there's a pullback just like this, right? After drawing our trend line, we enter if there's a breakout, right? So most of the times after this move, the market shoots down just like that. So let me just mark a few examples so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, right? So over here, right, we've got we are continuously going on. We are creating a series of lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, whatever. Right. So over here, this area over here, let me see if it works, right? So this area over here, let me just use my horizontal line or my box, right? So let me just use my box so that you understand how you have to use this, right? So this area over here, this is a support area over here, right? So we've got this is our major this is our major area, because it's the lowest point that was reached by the market, right? But these also can act as your zone flip areas, but they are not the major structures because they weren't the ones that were last reached. So this was the lowest point that the market reached before it started pulling back. These ones are just in the middle, right? Although they can work if this one is broken, right? But in this example, it wasn't broken, so you have to mark this, and you don't have to use it as a single level. By the way, you have to mark it as a zone, right? So that's why I use my box, right? So over here, when the market pulls back to this area again, right? So as you can see, the first pullback right over here, the market was just it was just going straight, right? So we've got this zone over here. So that's why I would encourage you to enter in this zone over here, because as you can see, the market was the pullback was just flat, it was just straight, right? It was an impulsive pullback, right? So it was just showing that this area is not likely going to be respected, right? But when it started consolidating over here in this region over here, it shows that the chances of this being respected are quite higher rather than the chances of this being respected, right? So right over here is just a further confluence, right? Maybe for your entries you can use candlestick confirmations, or you can use maybe a trend line, right? So you can draw your trend line over here, right? And on that test, right, I'm not drawing my trend lines properly, but you have to draw them properly when you are practicing. Or you can draw it here. There's also a retest over here, right? Because we've got two areas of interest, right? So those are your areas of interest, right? So we've got what our confirmations are: a pullback that's in what, in a consolidating manner, right? We've got, it's so like slowing down in momentum, right? So these pullbacks that gradually slow down in momentum are the best, right? And that's what I'm looking for, right? So these zone flip areas continuously get respected by the market. The right over here, we didn't reach this area over here, but maybe we reached this. But I promise you, I wouldn't have even thought of marking this area over here. I would obviously mark this area over here, because that was the previous side that was being formed, so I wouldn't have gotten my entry over here, right? Then this area over here, right, we've got a breaking market structure. We've got these structures over here, so my mouse, right? These structures over here, when they get broken, right, we've got wait for a pullback to those areas, right? Then let me just drag this horizontal line, right? So right over here, this was the zone flip, right? Because this was the breaking market structure, this was the last support level over here, and we test that, right? As you can see, it just continuously repeats itself, so you can get multiple entries per day. Right over here, this was the lowest point. It even tested 1, 2, 3 times, right? Almost 4 times, right? And when we broke that, past that, we've got a pullback. We test that area again, right? And we continuously keep on going down. So this is actually the best strategy that you can use if you are just beginning to trade support and resistance, right? So right over here again, this is a support level, gets broken, reaches to that, right? So as you can see, this alone is a powerful strategy that you can use to start trading the market, right? To start being profitable in the market, though it doesn't present itself each and every time, right? Like this example over here, there's no clear setup over here, but maybe you'll be using your trend lines. But this video is not about trend line. But right over here again, we mark, let's take this example over here, right? Right over here, we've got a breakout in market structure, pull back to that area again, right? Then over here again, breakout, pull back to that area. Over here again, we've got breakout, pull back to those areas again, right? So you can use it continuously every single day, every single time, right? This area over here, breakout, pull back, is just repeats itself. The cycle continues and continues and continues, right? So if you want to know more about trend lines, then I suggest that you watch this complete price action video that I posted in my video before, right? So that you get the hang of it, so that you are able to adapt to the market, to know what the market needs at that current time, right? So that's it for this video, guys.